And also these questions are designed to unfold and explain your teachings, and are asked in the context of the teachings of Ramana Maharshi, which reflects the ancient wisdom. So Ramana Maharshi proposed the fundamental question, who am I? Who are you?
I'm that in which the world manifests. I am the stuff which animates this mind-body organism. We can call it consciousness. That I am.
Many Western seekers are looking for enlightenment, as if it is an experience. What is enlightenment?
Well, first of all, I can say enlightenment is definitely not an experience. Enlightenment, although I prefer to use other words, is your very nature. So there's no question of becoming enlightened, and in fact, there is nobody to become enlightened. The way I prefer to see it is that there is a moment of clarity, we can call it an aha moment, when we see without any doubt that the story of my life, me, is simply an illusion. It never existed. It's not the question of dropping the story, because it's just a question to see that the story never existed. And in that clear moment of clear seeing, we can say this is a moment of self-realization, to realize that I am the ocean and I'm not the waves on the surface of the ocean. So I would define that as an awakening out of a wrong idea. What tends then to happen is that there's a period of high energy, and in that period of high energy, very few thoughts, very few old memories, and in fact a deep peace and emptiness inside. So that kind of energetic phenomena, you could say, marks this moment of awakening. However, after some time, and this is very much changing for each person, there is a tendency for the old structures to come back. But now, because there's no identification with somebody, these structures can be seen for what they are, old ideas, old patterns, somehow etched into the psychology. After some time, these old structures, simply by being seen, fall away. They simply disappear. A bit like the white clouds in the blue sky. At some point these white clouds just dissipate and you're left with blue sky. So there is something we could call freedom, which is deepening in the ocean. So I would say awakening is the moment we see clearly we're not the waves, we're the ocean, oneness. And freedom would be a moment when we have fallen deeper into the ocean and any of the old structures have simply dissipated. So there's no more disturbance, and we can say we're living just in the open sky.
Advice.
Fundamentally, there's no prerequisite for enlightenment. This moment of clear seeing can happen spontaneously, and does happen spontaneously without any kind of prior preparation. So, no, nothing is needed. However, it appears to be the case that people who involve with spiritual practice, a practice to bring the mind into stillness, people who spend time with a spiritual master or some spiritual masters, who allow their yearning inside, their longing inside to manifest by their life priority being awakening, it appears that more of those people come to the moment of awakening. So it appears to indicate that if you really want to give space in your life for this question, who am I, it's tremendously beneficial to have a spiritual master and to spend time with that spiritual master and to prepare the vehicle by achieving a quiet sattvic mind. There are many ways to do that. You can do it through meditation, mantra singing, breath work, yoga. All these are very classical spiritual techniques, and they all achieve in the end a still mind. Achieving a still mind is already a great benefit, because then we can live in peace and harmony, and we can live with a quiet mind without this constant anxiety and constant inner stress from the pressures of the mind and the pressures of thoughts. So that already is some benefit. But these practices will not bring us to the moment of awakening. They can bring us to the moment when just naturally there arises inside us the question, who am I? And when this question arises, it can also be a benefit to use an ancient wisdom called self-inquiry. And this self-inquiry appears to be the most direct way to come to self-realization. Self-inquiry is a way of bringing our attention from the outside, from the world, back to the inside, to the source of the world. So self-inquiry is two questions. The first question would be, to whom do these thoughts arise? Me. Who is me? Or who am I? The second question doesn't have a mental answer, but rather it brings your focus to the inside, to that space inside, which we can call the source. The first question can be about thoughts, can be about feelings, can be about some body sensation, can be something we're doing. For example, who's eating lunch? Me. Who's me? So rather than believe that I am the one eating lunch, by using self-inquiry, it takes us from this idea of somebody eating lunch back into the source to realize that actually nobody's eating lunch. And when this self-inquiry is done intensively, then it appears that people find that the whole attachment to the almost hypnotic sense of myself as a separate entity starts to thin, starts to melt, starts to break down. And many people who conduct this self-inquiry intensely will have moments of clear seeing. In these moments of clear seeing, they realize that, in fact, they're not this somebody, this illusionary somebody that has been created in our conditioning over many years.